my bucket list.
When that chute deployed and I was floating back down to the ground, I just was like, man, I'm such a small, insignificant little thing, and I just need to live my life like I'm like, because my heart's racing and the adrenaline is pumping. And then my jump instructor was even like, you're either gonna love it or you're never gonna do this again. And then I landed, and like, my adrenaline was so pumping that I'm goose stepping, walking, not even realizing it, like just like, whoa, whoa, like just that much adrenaline was flowing through my body. And then I went up to her and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I want to go again,
Right
right?"
now, right now.
And she was like, "Hell yeah," because you either, like I said, when you do a tandem first time
Mm.
jump, you never jumped before, you've never been with anybody. You take a 5 hour course. They teach you all this stuff that you're gonna do,
Yeah.
but you are on your own and you're jumping out of a, or not jumping. They don't let you jump at that point.
Mm.
You have to shimmy out and then do a controlled release.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first ego death. And then I got older and I was like, you can do this with other things. And yeah, I will say, a little bit of LSD and a bicycle ride is good for you.
Have you done mushrooms?
Yes, I believe in microdosing.
I've never done. I did mushrooms one time, but I don't know if I didn't take it right. But I didn't do anything. I don't know. If, I just thought that I don't. I said I don't like it. It doesn't do anything for me. Like, so for me, like my drug of choice is LSD, definitely.
Yeah, no, the microdose. So mushrooms, I think they do it differently.
I heard it's different feeling, right? Different whatever.
So it's kind of like it's like the blending of patterns.
Mm.
And but what mushrooms, if you microdose, I've noticed, uh, camouflage stops working, and you can see everything. And this is actually true. So like camouflage is an aspect that or it's a deficiency that we exploit.
Mm-hmm.
So your brain has got so many different things that it's got to be processing at all times, that when it looks at something that's got natural camouflage,
Yeah.
it will just assume what it is. That's why the newer camo, the pixelated camo,
Wow.
is actually so very good, because natural squares, just nothing but squares, that's not in nature.
Mm.
It's not natural. So your brain, for efficiency, will just be like, no, that's a leaf, that's a twig. Like, it will just make it
Mm.
what it needs to be. And so the camouflage works. When you take a psychoactive, your brain is not doing that anymore.
Mm.
It's not making assumptions anymore. And so every time I've ever microdosed or taken a good enough dose on mushrooms and you're hiking out in the woods, I can see the lizards. I can see all the little things that normally they would have been camouflaged. And I think it's because my brain's taking the time to
So
actually
this time
pay
LSD.
attention.
Have you done DMT?
Oh yeah, on accident.
I haven't done that either.
That's why I'll never smoke out of a hippie after a hippie.
I haven't done it either.
I was
I've
so
done DMT.
I was at a we were at a music festival in Texas, and I go in this tent where people were just smoking weed. Well, I thought they were smoking weed because I could smell it. So I was like, oh, all right, I'm gonna go smoke. And there's a big circle of people, and DMT. There's lots of ways to do it. It comes in many ways, but you can. A lot of people will like put the crystals on top of the bowl. So they just passed me the bowl, and I didn't know there was DMT on it, right? And so I do me a big rip because I'm like, I'm gonna do the whole bowl and I didn't know that we were supposed to be taking like little sliver hits and passing it. I just thought we were smoking. And the person next to me was like, "Dang, dude!" And I'm like, "What? Whoa!" And boom. So DMT is what is released every night when you go to sleep. The hypothalamus.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
So the hypothalamus is inside your brain, and it does open up during REM cycle, and releases DMT naturally. So naturally, humans already kind of have a little bit in there, but it like acid has never made me see something that wasn't there, or it's maybe hear things that weren't there, maybe, but never actually seeing an entity that's a real like DMT. You will blast off into another little universe,
Yeah.
and they like a whole world. Like
Yeah.
it's a forced dream.
But DMT doesn't last as long, right?
No, it's about 15 minutes at most.
Yeah, I've heard.
The
Well,
most
LSD like last 10, 12
the,
hours.
the most troubling thing about DMT is supposed to happen when you're sleeping. So there's a protein, I can't remember what it's called in your body, but when your body detects DMT, it releases a paralytic. So most of us sleepwalkers are deficient in this protein. That's why they act out their dreams. So whenever your body detects DMT, or when you're in REM cycle where you're going to be going into your deep dreams, your body issues a natural little paralytic that is what keeps you from reacting. People that have sleep paralysis have a problem where their body's not clearing that out. I've also suffered from sleep paralysis. Was the scariest thing that's ever happened. It's stupid scary. It's what gave me perspective. I'll touch on that later, but gave me perspective on psychosis. But DMT is meant when your body detects it. It goes, hey, let's paralyze this guy so he doesn't hurt himself reacting. So when you do a good dose of DMT, your body gets so heavy, you can't move. Like you just you cannot move.
Okay.
And it lasts for about 15 minutes, and like a really good one. So a lot of people will get comfy, they'll be laying down or something like that because they know like you're not you're not walking or anything on it when you're tripping that hard. No, you can't because your body's like, nope, do not let him act out his dreams. And so it's interesting that's going on all the time in humans.
Yeah, I haven't done DMT. I haven't done the. I can never say this word. Like it's the other same word. Ayahuasca. I cannot say my life right. If someone said, Jason, if you say this word,
$1 million.
Or you die, like fucking, I'll have to fucking die. I haven't done that either, right? I asked a friend that done it, like my tattoo artist to come. He does it a lot. He does it like once a month. He says the best thing ever. Right? Yeah.
I did peyote because the buttons are all over Texas. I've done that. That was the audio, very audio heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, DMT is really interesting. But I've also had sleep paralysis, and that was the scariest thing that ever happened to me. And now that I'm alone right now, I'm living alone. I'm like, oh my God, please don't let it happen while I'm alone.
Yeah, but
because my partner was able to wait because I would just be like, because trying to make a voice.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like you wake up and you can't move. You cannot move, but you are awake. You can see. You're looking around. But it's a very common experience for a lot of people that have sleep paralysis that they talk about the demon or the present. There's a being that is there. And it is very, very scary. And the first time it happened to me, it gave me perspective into what schizophrenia is. And it kind of shaped me to understand, to be a little bit more empathetic towards homelessness, because a lot of people don't understand the number one cause of homelessness is mental illness.
So that's the whole thing. Like I said, it kind of scared me, right? So my family we have like mental health in our family. Like my grandmother, she had a schizophrenia, right? I have depression, right? So really, I probably should be doing this right, but I just like it, right? So I have to be careful,
Yeah, because when you realize, like, well, I saw something that wasn't there, but it was the realest experience of my life, and I was terrified. Then I go, well, then now the idea that someone's schizophrenic, that it, like, The Beautiful Mind is a movie that touches on it, right?
Yeah.
He's got an entire family of people, people his whole life that are not there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it made me go, like, no, I now understand why you can't keep a job, why it's hard to have relationships with certain people in your life, and why you're homeless, because schizophrenia is hard.
Yeah.
On certain levels. It could be auditory, it could be visual.
Yeah. I remember grandma, she said, my grandma said fucking they used to do shock therapy, kind of fucking crazy shit, But yeah, it runs my family. But I'm definitely a big fan of it, right? I definitely was able to do it once. Is that it grounds you. You see nature. You see obviously connected, right? But like you see the crazy, like one time I was on it, right? So it's not. So it's not. It's people call it it's not chemtrails, right? But something else, right? And so once I'm in the house, I see the chemtrails, right, from one color to another, and like I swear to God, I was able to fucking zoom in on it, right? And see the fucking atoms in the fucking chemtrail, right? Like, okay. Another time, right? So my house, right? So for some reason, my front porch, spiders come. The spiders do make all these fucking spider webs, right? My wife will always like fucking like knock them off, right? So one time I was on it, I walk outside, and the spider says, "Mr. Jason, Can you please tell your wife to stop killing us? Like, what the fuck, you know? And then like one other thing too, like you just hear non-native, like you can hear like you better from porch. Okay, you can hear a car coming 10 minutes around, right? It's just like it's like your mind like changes, right?
It's yeah, and also it makes you really question a little bit of things like reality and art and why you do things. I can see why people that
I mean, I felt
like
I like I'm a Catholic, but sometimes like is God real? Is he real? Is like am I atheist? I've had some really deep religious spiritual like experience on the stuff, right? Like really
yeah.
like where like I don't want to say God talked to me, but like okay, like really deep religious experiences, right? On this stuff.
Well, I mean that's psychedelics have been used in religious practice for a long time,
Yeah.
right? Because like I said, my religion is possibly alien. I was raised Catholic as well,
Mm.
but by the time I turned 12, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I had questions more about the Bible than it was the religion because I'm I'm a very technical person, and I typically remember. I remember things that happened to me. My mom's always surprised. Like I can draw the layout of every house I've ever lived in.
Yeah.
And just there's certain things that I do not forget, and so I had questions that, and the cardinal that I spoke to was just like, "This just isn't for you, and that's okay." He was actually very. I was surprised at how like you would think a cardinal would be super religious,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's not the case. Sometimes with them, sometimes they come from a science background and they've
Yeah.
looked in science for so long that the only thing they come up with is God has to be real for them. So for me, I'm a possibilian. David Engelman wrote it. He's a neurobiologist. He traveled the world and he asked all these different cultures about their religion, their origin stories, and stuff like that. And like one of the last ones was like the Bonobo tribe, I believe, or something like that, in Africa. And they have a very interesting practice and belief system. But one, they don't understand how procreation works or progeny. They don't. They believe spirits are involved with that because like they'll castrate their pigs and you get the pigs still get like there's lots of little weird quirks. Like they have relationships like husband and wife, but then the husband will go off for war or hunting and she still gets pregnant because sex is not the same for their culture, right? And they don't understand that it even causes children.